Hey guys, how you doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. So this is our silver and gold miner update, along with some of the ETFs and also the actual gold and silver metal price themselves. So over to the charts. So starting with gold, you can see it's been trading pretty well off the 4-hour nines. We had the one here that once we broke below, it was a clear sell trade, but actually did reverse the price for a bit of upwards action first, so that's good. We then had our move down to the downside. This was our first target, and our second target was down here. And then you can see we bounced nicely off this sort of horizontal level on this 4-hour nine into the moving averages, where eventually we lost steam, and then once we came below the 4-hour nine, we then accelerated to the downside. So that is trading pretty in an orderly fashion, and in a way that you can trade it if you have your levels set, and you're keeping an eye out for particularly these 4-hour nines. So yeah, where do we think gold is going? I mean, the 200 daily is down there. I have, you guys know, if you've been listening to my videos, that I have been a bit concerned about some weakness potentially coming in gold, and it does appear that is transpiring now. I have been saying, like, my maybe a more optimistic target is around 1600. Just around here. I was sort of expecting it to be some point at this here in time, so it would be around the 200-day moving average, but we could come down quicker. We could pierce it and then come back up, or not make it, or however we get down there. Obviously I can't predict that, or even if we will, but we are starting to lose some historical levels of support now, so it is starting to look like we will test some downside. If we draw just a line across here, this obviously, you can see this is clearly an important level, so we'll get that on there. It obviously intersects what we've got on at the moment, but yeah, a loss of that level, and I think that will basically take us down towards the 200-day moving average. Obviously not the 400 period moving. It's not the 4-hour 200 period moving average. But yeah, you can see we have actually pierced this line, but are being supported by it. So it is putting up a fight at this line, and it could obviously, when we draw these lines on these important lines, we either break through them, and in which case we'll likely accelerate down, or they will just be support. Basically, that's why we draw them, because they are basically support levels that are important. So yes, if we get supported here, and then yeah, we can maybe resume our upwards trend. But at the moment, it kind of looks like high, lower, high, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and then we get a new semi-higher high compared to these levels, but not compared to those. And then lower low, and then lower high, and now potentially a lower low. So we're clearly in a downtrend overall. So we've got to start reversing that trend on a higher time frame before we can really expect some upside. But I mean, this is what I was saying. It's not a problem for gold to weaken, and obviously all these companies to weaken, because these, I think, are great buying opportunities, and they are great buys going into an inflationary environment going forwards. Not financial advice. So obviously, if we get a bit of a correction, then that is not obviously the worst thing to happen, is it? For like a medium or longer term investor. Right, so obviously not financial advice. Right, so silver's obviously come down to our horizontal level as well, similar to that level in gold. Obviously we had these trades, and we faked up above the line, but came straight back down, and now we're moving down pretty quick. You can see we should have had the sell line off the 9 as well on silver. So once we broke down there, potential move down, which we obviously got. So yeah. Targets wise, where we are is support down here. Support, yeah. I mean, this 200-day looks pretty convincing as a support area. So potentially get down to there. Maybe have a wick below. Also, what I did want to show you guys. Let me see if we have it on silver also or not. Yeah, here we go. We have a silver weekly 9 on silver, and you guys know the higher the TD, the more important it is. This is basically similar. The whole chart based on what the stock market did, in basically bottomed around this March time and then has had a pretty much V-shaped recovery. This is similar, and a lot of what I'm trying to say is that we've got weekly nines on a lot of stock market charts that basically have the same similar sort of move. So we are looking at weekly nines. So we are potentially looking at some weakness, even though obviously stock markets have been flying. And obviously precious metals have been doing well also. But yeah, we were potentially looking at some weakness. But unless we break the top of these 9 candles that we're printing all over the place, these weekly nines, in which case it's onwards and upwards, and that very well may happen. But we'll just have to see what happens. But I think we are a bit of an inflection point. It's a case of, we're going to have a deeper correction, which I believe we possibly could. But the way I see it, one of them has got to give. I think either stocks are going to have a correction, which I think would actually put some upward pressure on the precious metals prices, or the precious metals are going to have a correction because stocks just ignore their weekly nines and they keep going up. So it's interesting time. Gold silver ratio here on the weekly, I don't know, we just got to have it on from the weekly, didn't we? So on the daily, we're just stuck in this little range, waiting to see whether we're going to break up or break down. So what I did want to show you was gold on the weekly. Gold on the weekly, there is your, what was a 9 until we started to trade lower. So this was actually printing as a weekly 9 and has subsequently moved lower. Just a quick look at the 10 yield. This is a big move, guys. I mean, the last time we saw a move as big or bigger than this was obviously here when we were having an absolute capitulation dump. So that puts it in perspective, and just look at the size of every other candle. So this is actually an insane move. This is borderline getting onto what could develop into an uncontrolled sell-off of the bond market, which would be literally the end of the financial system. Rates gone. I mean, the Fed is already talking about yield curve control and pinning the yield curve, the 2s, 10s, and the 30 years, which it has done before. I think in the 40s or something like that. But they are looking at pinning the yield curve, and I mean, if these bonds keep selling off like they do, this is bonds going down, this is bond prices going down, therefore the yield going up. So if basically these yields keep going up like they do, this yield reflects the interest rate, the interest rate the government has to pay on its 10-year bonds. So clearly it can't keep going up because, well, it should and can go up, but I mean, clearly the government is going to struggle if it does keep going up. So obviously in this managed world we live in these days, you can see that they are going to try and do something about this. So yeah, so this is getting a bit wild. This is clearly putting downward pressure on gold. As we know, I have said this to you guys, this going up, this is what is causing gold to go down. We've been talking about that, and this is making more of a move up. It completely ignored its 4-hour 9 down here. Here, look, obviously we traded below it, but then we just literally break straight back above. But we're coming up on a new 4-hour 9, so we'll be able to chart that on Monday. Right, so GDX broken for our line, so we're targeting the 200-day. So not too much else we can say about that. We had it drawn off this 9 here on the 4-hour. Let's have a look. We got anything on the daily? I don't think we do. We don't have much on the daily. So again, it's a 4-hour chart. Broken below the line. I mean, when we were below it, I was like, well, we are below it now. So yeah, and there we go. We're starting to get the move down. GDXJ has lost its trend line. So again, we are looking at potential this level of support as a target, or if we break that level of support down to the 200. Spot ETF. I mean, we literally we drew this on yesterday, didn't we? I said there's not really much TD wise I can draw other than the fact that other than this arrow that I can draw, because it looks like we're just going to come down to the 200 on the daily. So I just drew the arrow, and we're working our way down the arrow, so we'll see what happens there. Junior's looking stronger here though. We have lost the trend line, as you can see, but not by much. These are looking strong. I mean, the juniors are looking good still. I mean, if we do properly start to lose this, properly, whatever that means, but start to close more than just today underneath here, so to next week, then yeah, again we're gonna have to just look for the 200 daily at this horizontal support level. Go AU under basically our level. So unless we wick back up early next week, I do think we are making a beeline for the 200, which all these are natural, all these are perfectly acceptable moves. I wouldn't, do you know what I mean? These are perfectly acceptable moves, and these may present themselves ultimately as great buying opportunities, not financial advice. So yeah, let's not be, let's just sit on our on our hands for a bit and wait to see if we can get some really good opportunities like we did at $12 silver. Silver ETF again, we've lost our trend line, so we are probably coming down towards the 200. This obviously this is the coming down to 200 as initial support, guys. I mean, this is where I think we will bounce. This is a good place to potentially buy some, but not financial advice. But obviously, if we lose that, then obviously we can keep coming down. So, but do I think that'll happen? No. But can I trade on what I think will happen? No. Clearly, I can't. Yes, Spot. Did we look at anything on here? We seem to have a line drawn. Was that line based off a 4 hour? Was it? I don't think it would have been based off a 4 hour. No, I think it's just based off just just a longer term horizontal level, I think. Actually, I think it was just the case of this was a buy, wasn't it? So if we broke above that line, those highs, and it was a buy, but we're coming back possibly to back test it. So maybe we're going to back test it and keep going. This is sorry. Yeah. So royalty and streamers, how are they doing? These are the real bargains, I think, though, guys. These royalty and streamer companies, because these guys benefit from cheaper, basically cheaper oil prices. They do benefit from cheaper oil prices also, but they benefit from cheaper gold and silver prices, because it just makes it harder for those gold and silver miners to get capital, and also they'll need capital if gold and silver prices go down. So these guys can get good deals. These guys can organize and get themselves good deals to add to their portfolios, and then that just helps their long-term revenue stream. So again, we've broken these levels, so potentially 200 daily. Franco-Nevada on a 4 hour 9 here. Was we in precious metals, was it, or not? No, it wasn't, but it was nearly coming in on one. Right, so we'll draw ourselves a potential buy trade here. This has got within reason close enough to the 200 day to be looking to make for me to be looking to make some entries in my actual ISA, so my actual buy and hold long only account. But yeah, this is a potential break above here, and then yeah, I mean, target the high, and if we don't get resisted there, and I'm never a fan of double tops. I mean, you 100% double tops and double bottoms are exactly how I trade based on they don't happen. So I'll put a line there, and if we trade above it, then that's a buy. And like often there'll be a channel, like say I put a line there and I won't be in a trade, but as soon as we get to it or break above it, then I buy. So I'm not, obviously double tops and double bottoms are the opposite of what I think happens in markets, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Sort of dropped, we lost. So this is, again, obviously this is this was on the 12th of May earlier this month. This is sort of an example of when you lose the long-term trend line, you then start to struggle. So we had this nice up move, and then once we lost it, we kind of did start to struggle. So then that would have made this line look very appealing on the basis we sort of lost momentum, we'd lost that trend line on the 4 hour, and that 4 hour 9 would have been pretty much the best point to have sold, really. Breaking below that was about the best point to have sold recently in this. So that's an interesting observation there for us. Obviously 9 there, we traded below and then got back above and looked stronger before we eventually got down to roughly about the same level. Daily, again, we had a daily 9 there. Had some weakness, but we carried on going a bit. And yeah, we're at a pretty good horizontal support level here. So we'll draw this on. We're at a good horizontal support level, so we'll see what happens. See if this holds or if this doesn't hold. Currently, we are currently below it, but we'll see. We'll see how it does hold. Let me just get rid of the arrow on the end. There we go. Right, we'll see how this level holds. Sandstorm looking a lot stronger than some of the other companies here, holding within its zone, its buy and sell zone. Again, I think this is one of the better ones. This is one of the ones, especially if we do see a bit of weakness and these prices go down. Again, it's a takeover target. Barrick Gold, yeah, lost its lost the level that we put on, based off the 4 hour just here. I'm guessing, yeah, based off. We actually did move it quite a bit lower than that, but yeah, so we've lost this level anyway. So I mean, I would say target the 200 on the daily, which is, I'd say round about here is there, isn't it? Yeah, so I'll be looking at that as a potential move unless we regain it and then we carry on playing out the channel. But this will just remain to be seen. Anglo Gold, only holding it well. We've not taken out our trend line, so potentially bounced off here and back up. Not really much I can see. Not really much. I don't think there's going to be much TD wise here. Nope, just that 9 there. Yeah, not much TD wise. Obviously that 9 was a good buy, got us a nice move, but then obviously subsequently retraced. Let's have a look at Silvercrest. So we are now at the bottom. So it is a case is make or break. Make or break. I mean, there's a projected move of this channel, obviously down to here. So we will draw it on, although I do think it is especially punchy as a target, but we will draw it because honestly, the amount of times I've seen punchy targets be achieved, just on a weekly basis, is insane. But if we bounce, obviously there's our target. Right, so one more. Fortuna Silver Mines. So we broke below, but we're looking to regain the channel. So I mean, it's a dangerous zone for this. We've got to get back into this zone at least before we can then try and break up to the new highs. But overall though, this has not lost its trend line, so this is looking good. I mean, you will notice what is going on. Generally speaking, here is that these higher risk. So the juniors in both the gold and the silver, in the gold and then also the silver, which is higher risk. They are holding up better than some of the bigger players. But what I would say is that obviously a lot more money has gone into the bigger players. And that money obviously is hotter money that can potentially cycle out, and it's not necessarily buying and holding some of these more speculative plays. So we'll put that trend line in, which we're clearly holding. But yeah, so yeah, that's the end of this video. So yeah, interesting times, like I said to you guys, interesting times for these precious metals, because if we're going to go into an inflationary environment, which it looks like we may do, that is actually very good for these stocks, guys. Very good. I mean, whilst you might think, well, we're going down, how can it be good? You do get insane buying. Market does crazy things, like coming all the way down here. Fair enough, it's done this in stock markets too. But this, once they're going to start putting money, this is obviously a massive buy. You can see a lot of these companies are way higher than where they were previously, whereas the actual overall stock markets and lots of individual stocks are not way higher than where they were previously. So these are doing this proves to you that this sell-off was just ridiculous and a great buying opportunity, because we're now higher than basically any point that we've been in the past 2 years. So so yeah, some opportunities coming in these. So yeah, I've got a flag on there. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you guys have all done okay trading wise this week. I've had to stop out of some. I finally capitulated on some short ideas that I was working. But not to worry, and I did it. Just like I've done it. I did it first thing when the market opened, and I was saying to myself, "Oh, I bet the market's going to keep going up. Sorry, going to just top now that I've got out." And they most certainly haven't. They've kept on strong, and I actually expect. Well, I mean that. The reason I stopped out is because we've hit the point in the market now where I believe we've got higher than what is the longer term trend level in my models. So I believe that that's a change of regime now, and we are entering a different trading environment where I don't want to necessarily look for shorts. I just want to look for longs, but in certain sectors. These being one of them. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, guys. So yeah, happy Friday again. Thanks for listening, and I will speak to you guys soon.